He was responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life, so he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into detail on extensive drug use.
And in their complaint, Diddy's attorneys were saying that NBC Universal made the assumption that their client has committed numerous heinous crimes, including serial murder, R of minors, and S trafficking of minors.
All right, buckle up. This story is about to take you on a wild ride. Imagine this, a high-ranking executive, someone who's been an integral part of one of the most powerful figures in entertainment for over a decade, suddenly finds herself in the spotlight. Not for her accomplishments, but for some deeply disturbing allegations swirling around her former boss. Yep, I'm talking.
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. Something that I'll never forget, actually.
About Christina Corman, once dubbed Sean Diddy Combs' right-hand woman. For years, Christina wasn't just an assistant behind the scenes. She was the person who made sure Diddy's world, whether it was a multi-million-dollar deal or his morning coffee, was running smoothly. In fact, Diddy once took to social media to praise her in 2021, calling her KK and saying, "KK keeps everything in my life and my business running." He went on to say she had been his right hand for the last 8 years, and that he couldn't function without her. That's trust at the highest level. But fast forward a few years, and suddenly that same trust is under intense scrutiny. The headlines are brutal, and the accusations are far from light. Christina has been compared to none other than Ghislaine Maxwell, the infamous associate of Jeffrey Epstein. That's a heavy comparison, with massive implications, painting her as someone who allegedly enabled or even played a part in some of the most shocking claims we've seen in the entertainment industry.
Actually, I want you to listen to this description because there is a whole section of that complaint dedicated to Christina Coram, where Rodney Jones basically makes the allegation that Christina Coram is the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it says. And of course, we know that she has been the associate of deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein, who ended up getting convicted of sex trafficking charges, sentenced to 20 years in prison.
After months of silence, Christina has finally broken her silence, addressing the allegations head-on. In a statement to Rolling Stone, she denied all the claims.
And I know you said he explained all of the items that were involved in these Wild King nights. Did he mention who would participate as well?
A lot of them were unknown to him. He did mention that a lot of the women were very, very young as 20, not underage, but certainly young women.
Calling them false and accusing her critics of orchestrating a smear campaign. Her words were strong, but also deliberate, as she painted herself as a victim of damaging rumors that were hurting her reputation and emotional well-being. Her exact words, "I have never condoned or aided in the mistreatment of anyone, nor have I ever provided substances to anyone." She stressed that the accusations were not only untrue but were so far from her character that they were unthinkable. But here's the million-dollar question. Why now? Why?
Did Phil explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator, he wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
Speak out after so many months of silence, especially when the lawsuits against her continue to mount. Some suggest it's a strategic move to get ahead of the growing storm, while others think it's an attempt to distance herself from Diddy as his criminal trial looms. Whatever the reason, Christina's statement has shifted the spotlight back on her in a way that's both fascinating and controversial.
A lot of times you have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
Here's where things get murky. It's not just about her denial. Christina's name keeps popping up in the lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy and his inner circle. Multiple former employees have described a toxic, chaotic environment where things went far beyond what anyone should tolerate in the workplace. And in these lawsuits, Christina is often implicated as either a facilitator of or a bystander to the alleged misconduct. For instance, one lawsuit claims that Christina would require employees to carry bags filled with illicit substances, saying it was part of their job to be prepared for anything. Then there are the infamous Wild King nights, legendary events allegedly hosted by Diddy that left hotel rooms in shambles. Who was tasked with coordinating all of this? You guessed it, Christina. One former assistant claimed she would alert staff when a wild night was about to begin, and also notify them when it was over so they could clean up the mess.
In the moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is Is this fun for him? Is this a test?
But here's the real shocker. Christina isn't just accused of turning a blind eye. She's allegedly complicit in downplaying serious complaints from employees who felt uncomfortable or unsafe. One former producer claimed that when he brought up an incident involving Diddy, Christina's response was chillingly casual. "You know Sean will be Sean." That phrase alone has become emblematic of the culture of silence and complicity that some say permeated Diddy's empire. Yet Christina continues to maintain that she is innocent, portraying herself as just another employee doing her job. She insists the allegations are part of a broader effort to take her down alongside Diddy. But with so many people pointing the finger at her, is she really just a scapegoat? Or is she, as some have suggested, a key player in a system that allowed such behavior to thrive? The lawsuits have painted a damning picture of Diddy's world, but Christina is standing firm. However, her statement has only fueled more questions. Could she be called to testify in Diddy's upcoming trial? If she does, will she double down on her innocence, or might she throw her former boss under the bus to save herself?
Well, I think it's heating up, and I think she has to make that statement at this point because a lot of people are making accusations. I'm sure there's an issue in terms of the federal investigation and what's going on with the federal investigation and if they're going to be interviewing her or using her as a witness. So my belief is all those things are coming to a head.
As the lawsuits pile up, it's clear this is far from over. Christina's statement has only added another layer of intrigue to an already complicated and unfolding drama. One thing's for sure, she's not just fighting for her reputation, she's fighting for her future. If these allegations stick, her career could be over. But if she manages to clear her name, she could become a whistleblower who exposed the dark underbelly of one of the most powerful figures in entertainment.
In normal trafficking cases, you think of something a lot different than those accusations. And I do believe that she didn't know the details of everything that was going on. I don't really find it plausible to believe that she didn't know anything was going on.
Now, let's talk about the lawsuits themselves, because the accusations against Christina are nothing short of shocking. First, there's Rodney Lil Ro Jones, a producer who worked closely with Diddy on his 2023 album The Love Album, Off the Grid. He's gone on record accusing Christina of being more than just a passive observer, comparing her to Ghislaine Maxwell. Jones claims Christina not only knew about Diddy's behavior, but actively facilitated it. He alleges she brushed off his complaints, claiming, "You know Sean will be Sean," when he expressed concerns about inappropriate actions. Jones also claims that Christina played a central role in managing Diddy's chaotic lifestyle. Allegedly, she would ensure all the details were handled for these out-of-control events, from arranging party supplies to managing staff.
Some kind of statement. I don't see this statement hurting or helping her. You know, it's one of those innocuous statements that's essentially like, let's wait and see how things turn out. I'm going to be vindicated. You know, that's kind of the standard when it comes to these statements that are made and the individual that are stating it. It's just, like I said, I think the heat is starting to be turned up on a lot of these different cases, criminal and civil.
Then there's Phil Pines, another former assistant, who claims that Christina was directly involved in covering up the chaos and secrecy surrounding Diddy's world. Pines alleges she even warned him about the consequences if he spoke out about what he'd witnessed. And it doesn't stop there. Another lawsuit from a woman in San Francisco has named Christina in connection with an unsettling incident. These mounting accusations are painting a disturbing picture of her role in Diddy's empire.
Okay, so do you believe a statement like this, and given the allegations against her, does this give you a clue about her potential role in this criminal case? In other words, do you think she could be called as a witness by either the prosecution or the defense?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine any universe where she's not called as a witness by either the defense or the prosecution. If someone is...
So, why speak out now? Some think Christina's statement is a calculated move to protect herself. She's likely aware of how pivotal her testimony could be in Diddy's upcoming trial. If she's called to testify, her words could have significant consequences. Whether she throws Diddy under the bus or remains loyal to him could change the course of these legal battles. Her statement has made her a central figure in this drama, and the public is eagerly waiting to see what happens next. Is she genuinely innocent, as she claims? Or is she simply trying to salvage her reputation before things get worse? The answers to these questions could have wide-reaching implications. Public opinion is a tricky beast. On the one hand, it can help build a narrative of innocence, but on the other hand, it can turn on a dime if new allegations or evidence surface. Christina's statement may have done more to raise questions than to settle them, and now she has to navigate the complex world of legal battles, public perception, and her own future. This story is just getting started, and Christina Corman's decision to speak out has only added fuel to the fire. Will she come out unscathed? Or will the weight of these allegations consume her? The world is watching, and you can bet that every new update will keep us all hooked. Stay tuned, this saga is far from over.
Tweeting. The next suit is filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
Sure, here's more to dig deeper into this complex and dramatic situation surrounding Christina Corman and the broader implications of her statement and the lawsuits. As Christina's statement hits the public, the questions only multiply. Her response to the accusations, while forceful, has only fueled further speculation. The fact that she's accused of not only turning a blind eye to the alleged misdeeds of Diddy but actively coordinating the behind-the-scenes chaos paints her in a much darker light. She isn't just a passive figure in this story. She was reportedly at the very heart of it all, allegedly pulling the strings to maintain the illusion of normalcy.
And every day I'm working on that case. Every day we're figuring something out. Every day we're talking to investigators. And that's essentially what Alex did on this case.
The idea that Christina was allegedly involved in preparing for Diddy's notorious wild nights, managing staff, and facilitating a secretive and possibly toxic environment isn't something that can be easily brushed off. These wild king nights, that have been mentioned in multiple lawsuits, allegedly saw hotel rooms transformed into chaotic, extravagant settings, with no regard for the aftermath or the toll on those involved. Christina, as these plaintiffs claim, wasn't just an observer. She was reportedly ensuring every detail was covered. She allegedly knew when it was time for these wild events, and, once they were over, she would ensure everything was cleaned up, leaving behind no trace of the excess. The fact that such allegations have come from multiple people further complicates her position.
I believe that it opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, but certainly I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
Let's talk about the legal battles for a moment. The sheer number of lawsuits that have named Christina, in one form or another, speaks volumes about the central role she may have played in the operations surrounding Diddy's empire. Rodney Jones isn't the only one who has gone public with these claims. Other former staff members have similarly described a culture where their concerns were ignored or dismissed, often with the phrase, "Sean will be Sean," used as a justification for unacceptable behavior. This type of dismissal, which Christina allegedly made on several occasions, is a dangerous one. It minimizes real, tangible concerns and reinforces a toxic environment where no one feels empowered to speak up.
Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure a lot more puzzling.
Now, imagine this. You've worked your way up, been praised publicly by one of the most powerful figures in entertainment, and yet, now you find yourself embroiled in a scandal that threatens to undo everything you've built. Christina Corman's situation is not just a personal battle. It's a reflection of how deep the system of power, control, and influence can run in the entertainment industry. Christina's narrative could reveal more than just her own complicity or innocence. It might shine a light on a broader culture of silence, one that has allowed certain individuals to act with impunity.
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B.
Christina insists that she never condoned or aided any form of mistreatment. But when you look at the multiple lawsuits, you have to ask yourself, why do so many people, from different angles, point the finger at her? Is she really just a scapegoat, or is there more to her story than we've been told? What was her role in these high-stakes, fast-paced events that seem to blur the line between business and chaos? Did she help facilitate or even play a part in perpetuating the dysfunction, or is she simply the target of a wider attack on Diddy's inner circle? Her statement, though firmly denying all wrongdoing, suggests that she's preparing for a long, hard fight to protect her name. The legal battles she's facing are just the beginning. With more plaintiffs coming forward, the idea of Christina being a central figure in Diddy's empire becomes more difficult to ignore. She's been named in several legal complaints, each one accusing her of playing a key role in enabling the culture of excess and secrecy that allegedly existed under Diddy's watch. As the criminal trial for Diddy looms, Christina's future has never been more uncertain. She could be called as a witness, something that could either exonerate her or plunge her even deeper into the scandal. Will she testify to defend Diddy, or will she distance herself completely from him? If she decides to take the stand, her testimony could be crucial in shaping the public perception of Diddy and everyone involved in his orbit. But with so many people already making accusations, can Christina maintain her innocence, or is she simply one piece of a larger puzzle of alleged corruption and abuse?
And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them.
Public opinion also has a huge role to play in all this. People are torn. Some see her as a victim of a powerful smear campaign, while others view her as a willing participant in a culture of corruption. As the story unfolds, Christina's every move will be scrutinized. Will she be able to spin this into a redemption story, positioning herself as a whistleblower, someone who was trapped in a toxic system but found the courage to speak out? Or will the legal battles and mounting accusations create a public backlash that further damages her reputation? There's also the psychological aspect to consider. Christina has been thrust into a position where her character is being questioned, her integrity examined. In her statement, she emphasizes how deeply upsetting and disturbing these allegations are to her. But how much of this is truly the result of a smear campaign, and how much is rooted in reality? The pressure of defending herself against accusations that seem to be mounting with every passing day could become overwhelming. Will she manage to hold on to her story of innocence, or will the web of lawsuits, public scrutiny, and the looming criminal trial start to unravel her carefully crafted defense?
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because look, sometimes you can argue that this activity never happened, right? It wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large entourage, so...
As this drama plays out, it's clear that Christina Korman is at a crossroads. Her future in the entertainment industry hangs in the balance. If she is indeed innocent, her ability to clear her name will determine not only her career, but also the way she's remembered in the broader narrative surrounding Diddy and the entire entertainment world. However, if she's found to be complicit or if further evidence comes to light, this could be the end of her career and her reputation. In the end, we're all left with a few key questions. Is Christina Korman truly innocent, or is she hiding something darker? Has she been unfairly targeted, or is she a central figure in a system that allowed these alleged abuses to happen? And what will happen if she's called to testify in Diddy's criminal trial? Her statement may have opened the door to more questions than answers, and now the world is watching, waiting to see how this all unfolds. Stay tuned, this saga is far from over.
Jay-Z is speaking out this morning after the civil suit accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of rape was dropped. NBC's Chloe Malas is here with more.